Hi, welcome to Commerce and Management Solutions. In this video, we will discuss one questions under the subject Managerial or Business Economics, or it can be come under the subject Cost Accounting also. The topic is Marginal Costing Technique, in that how to calculate contribution. So let's move on to the question. Here the question is to calculate contribution per unit, contribution and profit per unit and fixed overhead we need to calculate from the given information. The information available in the question are material is given, and also we have this is the material and labor is given, overhead is given, output, total output, that is 10,000 units, then selling price per unit is 28, and one more information, that is 40% of overhead is variable. So here we need to calculate all this. So first we will take contribution per unit. First we will calculate contribution per unit. So to calculate contribution per unit, we can use the contribution equation, that is equal to selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. So from this question, we need to identify what is the selling price. It is very clear. Selling price is clearly given, that is 28 rupees. So we can write here selling price is equal to 28. Selling price is equal to 28. Then we need to take variable cost. Here variable cost contain many items, like cost of material is a variable cost, labor cost is a material cost, and overhead it's not fully variable cost. Here it's given 40 percentage of overhead is variable, so here we need to take only 40 percentage. So 4 into 40 percentage is equal to 4 and 40 into 4, that is 4 into 4, that is equal to 1.6. So out of this 4 we can take 1.6 is variable cost. So this all together we can take total variable cost per unit. So total variable cost per unit is equal to 10 plus 6 plus 1.6. So that is equal to 10 plus 6, 16, 1.6 is equal plus 1.6 is equal to 17.6. So this is the total variable cost per unit. This is total variable cost per unit. It is not all together. It is a total variable cost per unit. Then apply this into this equation formula. So here contribution per unit is equal to 28 minus 17.6. Then you will be getting contribution per unit, that is equal to 10.4 per unit. So contribution per unit we got it, that is 10.4 per unit. Then we have to calculate total contribution. So first question is this one. Then we need to calculate total contribution. How to calculate total contribution? Contribution is equal to contribution we have calculated per unit. Contribution per unit into output. How much we are producing, just multiply that. So will write here 10.4, that is contribution per unit, into 10,000. So that is equal to 1,04,000 is the total contribution per unit. So now we got contribution per unit and total contribution also we got it. Then we move to the next part, next question. Here the first one we calculated, second one we calculated. Then the third question is calculate profit per unit. Calculate profit per unit. That is very easy. Here contribution, we know we have calculated contribution per unit, that is equal to 10.4 per unit. To calculate profit per unit, we can use the equation, that is contribution per unit minus fixed cost per unit. Contribution per unit minus fixed cost per unit. Fixed cost per unit we have calculated here. Actually overhead, out of 4 overheads, out of 4 rupees overhead, 1.6 is variable cost. So remaining points will be, that is fixed cost will be 2.4. The remaining 2.4 will be the fixed cost. So we can calculate profit per unit is equal to contribution per unit. We know that is 10.4 minus 2.4, that is equal to 8 per unit. From this we can calculate total profit also. Total profit is equal to 8, that is per unit, 8 per unit, that is profit per unit, into total output, that is equal to 10,000. So total profit will be 18,000, 80,000 will be the 80,000 rupees will be the total profit. So we worked out that also. Then we move on to the last question, that is fixed overhead. We need to calculate the fixed overhead. How much is the fixed overhead here? Fixed overhead, we already know that we calculated here, that is 2.4 per unit is the fixed overhead. That is we already calculated. Then total fixed overhead is equal to 2.4 into 10,000, that is equal to 24,000. That is fixed overhead. This 24,000 we can calculate in other way also. That is, we can create an equation from the contribution equation, that is fixed overhead is equal to total contribution minus total profit. So total contribution we have calculated already, that is equal to 1,04,000. 1,04,000 minus total profit we have calculated already, that is equal to 80,000. So the fixed overhead will be 24,000. So we got here fixed overhead also. So in both way we can calculate it fixed overhead. So you please keep in mind that the contribution equation, that is contribution is always equal to selling price minus variable cost. Remember this equation. From this equation all other formulas we can create it. And keep in mind one more equation regarding this, that is contribution we can calculate in other way, that is equal to contribution is equal to what is called as fixed cost plus or minus profit or loss. This is another equation to calculate the contribution. So hope you understood how to work out this kind of question. So to practice more, I would like to give one more question here, that is from this information you can calculate the required questions. You can calculate and give your answer in the comment box. Thank you for watching the video. For more videos, please subscribe the channel. Thank you so much once again.